this week's Substack and some poetry for you. Life is not against you. At some point on the spiritual path, we begin to see that the way we've related to life, often unconsciously, is based on a fundamental misunderstanding. Many of us live from the belief that life is either something we must control or something we fall victim to. And both of these arise from the same source, the imagined self. This imagined self sees itself as separate from life, cut off from the whole, cast adrift in a world of forces beyond its control. In this view, when things go well, we feel powerful, in charge, even blessed. But when things fall apart, when pain, loss, or uncertainty arise, we shrink into fear, shame, or despair. Life becomes something to defend ourselves against. But what if this fundamental assumption is simply untrue? As we begin to go deeper into ourselves, not as a concept, not as a philosophy, but as a lived inquiry, we start to sense that the idea of being a separate me is a construction. We begin to see through the illusion of control, and we stop needing to be either the controller or the victim. Something else starts to emerge, a deeper sense of participation with life, not separation from it. And in this participation, life begins to feel different. Not because the external circumstances necessarily change, but because we're no longer fighting with reality. We're no longer orientating around a me that is trying to manipulate or defend. We become more curious, more open, more available. Life becomes an invitation, not to fix, not to flee, but to inquire more deeply into what we are and what stands in the way of meeting life fully. Every experience becomes a mirror. What if the discomfort isn't proof that life is against you, but a doorway into something deeper? What if the heartbreak, the confusion, the fear, the sense of lack are all pointing not to your failure, but to the possibility of greater freedom? This is where love comes in, not sentimental or romantic love, but the love that is the very nature of being itself. When we stop running, when we stop fighting, when we stop trying to mold life into our image of how it should be, we begin to fall into that love. And we begin to see that life itself is that love. Not just the beautiful moments, not just the calm or the bliss, all of it. The invitation is to look again, to pause in the face of discomfort or struggle, and to ask, what if life is not against me? What if this is the very moment that is calling me home, not to who I think I am, but to who I truly am? And what if everything I thought was in the way was actually the way? And some poems. An empty silence at the center of our being. A fresh moment, a peacefulness, with no agenda and no resistance, no fight and no interpretation. A just thisness that refreshes the soul and feeds our existence. We discover that our existence is good and filled with a love that needs no qualification or cause, a causeless, unconditional love we may call union with God. Listen to the world from the silence of your being. As you fall deeper, you may hear the divine music, even in the drama and division. Bring your longing for freedom to life. Light the fire. Keep it alive. You need energy for transformation, but we are trained to inertia and carry the heavy weight of emotional gravity. To fly into the eternal, you must let go of all baggage. Strip down to the essence. Shed what no longer serves. Let the flame consume your false identities and rise weightless into the sky of being. Fall into the still point within, not by doing anything, but by undoing. Not by knowing, but by surrendering. There, in the silence beyond thought, all things are one, and all is well. Friend, find something deeper than the suffering. Find the hand that holds all your experience, and give yourself to that again and again. At first it will be a struggle, then it will be a preference. Finally, it will be your home. The truth is, I fell into the hole in the center of my being and entered a new world. Now I walk with one foot in this temporal world and one foot in the eternal. We turn towards ourselves and begin to face what we have turned away from or tried to fix. It hurts, but the pain of that facing is better than the pain of avoidance. For something is being healed, loved and heard, and in that simple willingness, slowly we come home to our true nature. You long for love's unconditional embrace, unaware that love is already reaching for you to give itself wholly and freely. Thanks.